Hello, Hannah, positive
Hi.
psychology expert and teacher of psychology. Please, you're experienced in working in post 16 settings as a
Yeah.
teacher and as a positive psychologist. So, can you share with us how you feel well-being is perceived in a post 16 setting?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm speaking from my experience, but I think where I work with 16 to 18-year-olds and sometimes mature students, but not often. And I think sometimes it's the word well-being has been a bit overused in education, and it kind of turns the students off sometimes. If you overlabel something and you talk about well-being all the time, it can lose its shininess. And so what I've found useful to do is to kind of rebrand it for the students that I teach. So I don't say that we're talking about well-being. Instead, I talk about positive education. And that seems to have been received much more positively than if I just said, oh, well, we're going to talk about well-being now.
And how would you define positive education to someone that doesn't know what it is?
Yeah, so I say that positive education is the science of well-being. So it's looking at what research shows about how people live a good life and the science of flourishing.
And how do you think rebranding it has helped you develop positive education?
I think it's just given me a way in into making it more visible in the college. So I've used the term positive education with the staff and the students when I have run training and when I've been doing workshops with students, and it's become just part of the students anyway, part of their everyday experience. In the lessons, they sort of accept that that's part of what they do when they come and study A levels with me. So even though it's not on the syllabus, they're quite happy to get involved and get engaged in the sessions that I run.
That's amazing. I'm just thinking how amazing that is to have got to that stage where it's accepted. It's still quite new in the UK, so especially in that further education,
Yeah.
post 16. So what are your top tips for anyone that works in post 16 or secondary school even that wants to develop positive education?
I would say to tailor the support that you offer, because what suits for one group of students won't suit for another. So really listen in to what they're telling you and what they're perhaps complaining about or what their struggles are, and tailor the support that you offer based on what they need, rather than assuming that everybody needs, information on resilience, or everybody needs information on character strengths, or so, because it's not a one size fits all situation. I learned the hard way doing that, and I would give these sessions to everybody, and then you could just see in the classroom, the students switching off. So be mindful of sort of listening in and tailoring what you do to suit their needs.
And what's the impact on the students what's changed for them since you've been applying positive education?
But it's a good question. I'm sort of partway through my journey, so I haven't officially got any quantitative measures of how what I've been doing has helped. So I can just go by my experience of what I see.
That's
and
good enough.
Yeah, I think it's normalized the conversation of well-being. It's made it more visible in the classroom, and it's become a normal topic of conversation. And what I've noticed is students opening up to me more about how they're feeling and what's worrying them, and telling me now. So it's got to the point now where they'll say, oh, Hannah, I'm feeling really overwhelmed this week. And I didn't so much see that before I started doing these sessions and bringing positive education into my classroom. So it's been good, and it's had a good impact on me as well. So I feel less stressed, because obviously if you're teaching the students you're kind of taking it in yourself as well.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. So if you want to learn positive education like Hannah applies in her school, then we recommend that you join Wellbeing Club, which is our program for school wellbeing leads and senior mental health leads. Thanks, bye.